In this video, we're going to take a look at the PowerPack connection vault. We left click on that, the palette will open. We'll come down the left-hand side, the list of categories until we find contour processing. And in here, we're going to be looking at the curved element cut. When using the curved element cut, it is absolutely necessary that this is used with elements created with the curved beam. If you're doing it with a curved polyline or arc, it will not work. The objects being cut must be cut against a curved beam. So in the Advanced Steel Objects tab, create your shape or your curved shape using the curved beam, and then if you need to, create your cut against that. Once you have that in place, come to the curved element cut tool, left click on it, pick the piece that you want cut, and you'll see here I have a straight beam coming up and a curved beam there. And let me just go to X-ray. We can see the shape. So if I do the curved element cut, I'll pick that straight piece, right click, and then I'll pick the curved piece and right click. And you'll see it creates that fish mouth from the straight piece around that curved element. The first section is just properties, then you have some information about the tool, and then you have some basic settings for general. The number of points determines the smoothness of the cut. The defaults in this are very good. You can stay with those. If you lower them down, it may end up being a little bit rougher, the cuts, and if you go too high, you may end up slowing down the modeling process by adding in all kinds of additional lines that may not be required. So leaving it at the default gives you a nice fishmouth type cut, which is a good representation of the cut that you need. With the factor, if you adjust this and set it to a low value, you'll notice that some areas may not be cut, so you'll have a piece of the object still coming up. So your cut will be affected by this. If you put it too high, then it becomes more jagged. You'll see that you're going to get jagged edges on here, so you need to keep the balance in here, and the setting that it comes with, 10, actually gives you a nice or smoother cut than most other settings. So you may want to play with that, but starting off with the default one is a good place to start. Your gap allows you to come in and put in a space. So if I need to offset that a bit, you'll see you'll get that space in between, and it cuts everything back down below. You can create a weld on here, and it will adjust or place that weld in, and it'll connect the two together. You can determine the type of weld you want and the thickness. You also have the contour shape here. So you can say, I want this to be exact, standard, or casing. You'll notice casing cuts it underneath. And then you have cut, which gives you that exact cut, standard cut, and casing as well, but maybe more accurate or more more in line with the object you're cutting against, depending on the scenario. If you need to do a cut offset, you can also type that in here and do that cut offset. You'll notice if I put a positive number, it extends that cut upwards. And if I do a negative value, it'll cut the piece back by that amount. So now it's trimming along the top, cutting it back by that 1/4 inch. Those are the settings for the curved element cut. You've seen beam on beam. This also works with curved element on plate or folded plate. And so if you want to come into here, you can say, I want to cut the plate, and right click, and then pick that curved element and right click. And you're going to get that curve section taken out of the plate as well. And that is the curved element cut from the PowerPack connection vault.